of another group in that acronym. But really what I'm trying to avoid is this. I'm trying to avoid in 2030 or 2040, when we look back on current year, and we think about what we did to these people, and it looks a lot like that. I think it's going to rank up there. Some of the worst treatments meted out to people who needed help. Now, at some point, children of both genders are going to read about doctors who treated mental illness by surgically building a vagina out of their penis. A vagina that has to be blocked open every 6 months. Actually, you know what, I'll spare some of the gory details, but this is a really horrible thing they go through. These people are vulnerable and at risk, and they're being treated not compassionately, not by doctors who wish to help them come to terms with what's wrong with them, and help them come to terms with the sex they were actually born into. Instead, they want to indulge delusion. Instead, they want to warp reality around fantasy. This is a very dangerous thing, and it's where the pronoun stuff comes from. It is the indulgence of lunacy and fantasy, and it ultimately affects all of us. Now, I wish these adults were the people who suffered the most from this, but of course they're not. They're not the most at risk. You can laugh, it's okay. But now stop laughing, because this is Canada. Actually, you can laugh again, Canada. In Canada, it's sort of trendy to have trans kids. So my view, this is a sort of profoundly homophobic thing to do. You know, you've got a kid who, a young boy likes to play with African men together or something, likes to wear dresses, and rather than them, you know, perhaps being a homosexual, it's not ideal, but not as bad as this. Parents are now encouraged to be comforted. You did nothing wrong. You didn't parent wrong and raise a queer. Your child has a disease, and we're going to fix it for you. We're going to deliver it back to you as a girl. This not only gets parents out of having to self-examine what they might have done wrong to lead their child to be gay, but it also raises the spectre of these young kids thrown on hormone therapy before they even reach puberty, before their frontal lobes are formed, before they know who or what they are or what they may be attracted to later in their life. This is really terrifying stuff. Monstrous, actually. And the majority of American media is behind it. The New York Times does this. Mike, Vox, Gawker, BuzzFeed. They're all behind this stuff. They're all complicit in this. Children have no idea what their sexuality might be until puberty. Even the mental health establishment will grudgingly admit that non-gender conforming children may snap out of it by their teenage years. Or all the research shows, if you leave these kids alone, they grow up perfectly well-adjusted straight or gay people. And they ask for the surgery to be reversed. Imagine the hell that they're going to endure. And remind yourself that this is a consequence, possibly the most sick and deplorable and depraved consequence of social justice and the far progressive left in their quest to reimagine society. This is the primary consequence, and the most extreme one. Young children being brutalized. They may have heard of a particular mental illness called Munchausen's by proxy. In this mental illness, a caregiver will fabricate, exaggerate, or directly cause illnesses in their child or another dependent so they can feel special and act as a caregiver. I think there's a direct parallel with these trans parents. We call it tranny by proxy. They feel special. They feel like they're part of a cultural movement. They feel like they're playing around with the gender identity of their child in a way that is not harmful. But this is why the founder of the site I work for, Andrew Breitbart, used to say that politics is downstream from culture. You can persuade people to change political positions, but the culture is what forms their most deep-seated and atavistic opinions and desires and preferences, and bigotries too. And when our culture, whether it's Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of the series that they commission now, legitimizing and glamorizing a mental illness, that's culture. And that is encouraging us to normalize something that nobody should desire and nobody should celebrate. We've been discussing trannies, but there are also plenty of retards out there as well. And the retards are